I paid for my dad and stepmom's trip to my wedding, but she talked him out of coming. Months later they begged for help and I ignored them until he showed up with nothing but a bag. Hi, I'm Emily, 28F, and this is the story of how my stepmother nearly destroyed my relationship with my dad, and how I finally set things right. I sat at my tiny kitchen table, chipped laminate secondhand, clicking confirm payment on the screen. 2 first-class tickets to California. 4 nights at the Shoreline Grand Hotel. Airport transfers. All paid for. For my dad, Roy, and his wife, Lori. I didn't do it because they deserved it. I did it because I still believed deep down that maybe, just maybe, they would show up for me. That on my wedding day they'd be the family I kept hoping they could be. Sometimes hope is the cruelest habit. Planning the wedding had been a minefield of compromises. Every decision seemed to have to pass through Lori first. The date had to fit between her yoga retreats. The menu had to accommodate Roy's latest dietary needs, which Lori had invented, by the way. Seating arrangements, ceremony times, dress codes, everything twisted around her demands. But I took it. Because that's what I always did. When Lori first came into our lives, I was 13, still grieving the loss of my mom. I clung to the hope that Roy would stay the dad I knew, even as he remarried. But Lori had a way of making everything orbit around her. She didn't just marry my dad. She consumed him. At first, I thought it was just adjustment. Temporary. The first few times my phone buzzed, I stared at it like it was some kind of trap. Roy. Lori. Their names flashing on the screen like they had any right. The messages came faster, more desperate. We need your help. Just a small loan. It's an emergency. But not once did they say we're sorry. Not once did Roy say I should have been there. All they saw was what they always saw, someone to fix their mess. And this time? I didn't move a finger. I threw myself into the life I was building with James. Our tiny apartment, cluttered and alive. The dog we adopted, a mutt with 3 legs and more energy than sense. Late nights cooking bad pasta, cheap wine, cheap jokes. Real family. It was a Tuesday when the Real kicker came. I was leaving work, juggling my tote bag and a box of leftover cupcakes when Ginny called. You're not gonna believe this, she said. What? Roy and Lori. They're about to lose their house. I froze on the sidewalk. Apparently Roy's business, a tiny construction firm, had been struggling for a while. No surprise there. Lori had talked him into buying a luxury SUV last year, draining their savings. She wanted the image, the power, the envy. Roy just wanted to make her happy. I guess now they had neither. Ginny lowered her voice. Word is, they're asking around. Family. Friends. Anyone. They're desperate. I leaned against a lamppost staring at the evening traffic and realized. It was happening. The empire they built on self-importance was crumbling. And they wanted me to hold up the walls. The old Emily would have. This Emily? Not a chance. The next voicemail from Roy was different. It wasn't demanding. It wasn't wheedling. It was broken. Honey. I know I haven't been the best dad. I know Lori and I made mistakes. But please just call me. We need you. There it was. We. Still no I. Still no ownership. Still no apology that felt real. I sat on the floor of our living room, the dog's head resting on my knee, and let the silence answer for me. Roy had chosen Lori over and over again. Chosen her resentment, her jealousy, her need to erase me. And now he could live with it. Lori wasn't content with silence, though. A week later, she sent an email. Long, dramatic. Barely coherent. You're abandoning your father. After everything we did for you. You always were ungrateful. He deserves better than a selfish daughter who throws tantrums because she doesn't get her way. I stared at the screen, not even angry. Just tired. In her mind, she hadn't stolen him from me. She had saved him from me. From the inconvenient daughter who wanted too much, expected too much, needed too much. In her mind, she was the victim. James found me sitting at the kitchen table later that night, laptop still open. You okay? He asked. I nodded. But something in me was burning cold. I think I need to do something, I said. Like what? I smiled slow and sure. I think it's time they learned what it feels like to be left behind. The idea came to me at 2 a.m. Simple. Clean. My wedding had been a new beginning for me. A day about love, commitment, loyalty. They had refused to show up. Now I would return the favor. I pulled out the small file box from under the bed, the one with old family photos, birthday cards, every little attempt I'd ever made to keep that connection alive. I flipped through them one by one. The postcards from vacations they never invited me on. The family updates Lori sent listing only her kids' accomplishments. The picture of Roy's 60th birthday party, the one I wasn't even told about until after. All the proof I needed. All the little cuts that built the scar. 3 days later, I got the invitation. Roy's 35th company anniversary party. Formal. Big venue. Big deal. The kind of event Lori would never let pass without a glittering audience. I didn't RSVP. I didn't even think about going. Instead, I made a phone call. To the venue. Politely, oh so politely, I informed them that Mr. Roy Patterson and Mrs. Lori Patterson had an outstanding balance from a previous event that had never been cleared up. They didn't, but the venue didn't know that. I suggested they confirm payment before proceeding with preparations. Just good business after all. Then I booked a weekend getaway with James instead, cabin in the mountains, no cell service, no drama. While we hiked through pine forests and laughed over burnt marshmallows, Roy and Lori scrambled to salvage their grand event. I only found out the full story later. The venue demanded payment up front. The caterer pulled out. Half the guests didn't show. The night that was supposed to celebrate Roy's legacy ended in a half-empty hall, with Lori screaming at the manager and Roy standing helplessly nearby. Poetic. Perfect. Back at home, I ignored the new round of voicemails. More angry this time. How dare you humiliate us? You think you're so much better now. You'll regret this. Maybe once their words would have gutted me. Now? I just unplugged the landline, curled up on the couch with James, and watched bad horror movies until we fell asleep. The funny thing about letting go is how light you feel afterward. How free. It didn't matter anymore whether Roy and Lori understood what they had done. I wasn't living for their approval. I wasn't their daughter to sacrifice anymore. They made their choice. And I made mine. But by the time I was 16, I barely recognized my life. Every achievement of mine was met with thin smiles and casual dismissals. Lori's daughter got into Duke, Emily. Maybe you should aim higher. Every family gathering became about Lori's promotions, Lori's vacations, Lori's newest expensive thing. And Roy? He followed. Blindly? Completely. I became the invisible child, useful only when they needed something. Still, I kept trying. Birthday cards. Graduation invites. Random phone calls to check in that Roy rarely answered. I built the bridge over and over again, even when they torched it. And now here I was 28 years old, still believing in second chances. Clicking confirm on a travel package I could barely afford. Sending them tickets, a paid hotel, a heartfelt email. Can't wait to see you both at the wedding. Love you. The response came 3 hours later. From Lori. Thanks. We'll see how it goes. No exclamation point. No heart. No excitement. Just cold, clipped indifference sitting in my inbox. Roy didn't reply at all. I should have seen it coming. The weeks before the wedding passed in a blur of flower samples, food tastings, place card debates, and late-night breakdowns with my best friend Jenny. But underneath it all, a tiny flame of hope burned stubbornly. Maybe this time they'd surprise me. Then 2 days before the ceremony, the call came. I was sitting cross-legged on the floor surrounded by ribbons and wedding favors when my phone rang. Dad's name lit up the screen. I answered, smiling already. Hey, Dad. Is everything okay with the flights? Silence on the other end. Then Roy cleared his throat. Lori thinks it's best if we sit this one out. For a second, I thought I'd misheard him. What? He sighed. You know, with Lori's back acting up. And flights are expensive and, well, things have been strained. Strained? He said it like it wasn't Lori whispering poison in his ear for 15 years. Like it wasn't him choosing to listen. I gripped my phone tighter. Dad, I paid for everything. The flights, the hotel. You just have to show up. More muffled sounds in the background, Lori's voice, too sweet to be sincere. She sends her best, Roy said quickly, like it hurt to admit it. I stared at the wedding favors scattered across my floor. Little glass hearts. Symbols of love. I'll let you go, he added, almost sheepish. And he hung up. They didn't come. And you know what? The wedding was beautiful anyway. Jenny held me up when my hand shook. James, my husband, beamed at me like I hung the stars myself. My friends danced like maniacs and the photographer caught it all, the laughter, the love, the light. There was one moment, though, standing under the fairy lights, where my eyes caught the empty chairs at the family table. Where Roy and Lori should have been. I swallowed it down. Buried it deep. I didn't cry. Not then. But something inside me shifted forever. 3 months later, my phone lit up. Missed calls. Voicemails. First 1. Then 3. Then 10. Hey, it's Dad. Can you call me back? We could really use your help. Emily, it's Lori. Just wondering if you might be able to loan us something short-term. We're in a tough spot. Honey, please. It's important. I listen to every voicemail, read every text. And then, I slid my phone into a drawer. I didn't pick up. Not even once. Weeks went by. At first, the silence felt like a victory. For once, they weren't draining me, begging, blaming. I got to wake up in the morning without my heart sinking. I focused on my life, small things that felt enormous. Sunday brunches with James. Late night walks with our dogs. An apartment that smelled like coffee and freedom. But if there's one thing I learned about Lori, it's that she doesn't lose quietly. It started with small things. Weird calls at work. Hang-ups. Blocked numbers leaving heavy-breathing voicemails. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. Then my landlord emailed me. Hi Emily, just confirming you're vacating by the 15th? Your stepmother called and said you were moving out early. I stared at the screen, pulse pounding. I hadn't said a word about moving. Because I wasn't. Lori was trying to get me evicted. I called the landlord immediately, explained everything. Luckily, he believed me, but the damage was done. Lori wasn't just mad. She was trying to erase me. Again. I changed my emergency contacts. I updated all my passwords. I even warned my HR department in case someone accidentally tried to mess with my employment records. It sounds paranoid, right? But when you've lived through this kind of subtle sabotage for years, you know better. Lori didn't throw punches. She whispered lies until the walls closed in around you. A few days later, another bomb dropped. Ginny called me at work, practically yelling into the phone. Emily, checked the local news. Now! I pulled up the site, and there it was. Front page of the community section. Construction fraud allegations. Local business under investigation. Below the headline was a picture of Roy's company sign, looking weathered and sad. According to the article, someone had reported suspicious billing activities, double charges, fake invoices, missing funds. The county had opened a formal investigation. My stomach dropped. I knew Roy wasn't perfect. He let Lori run too much of his life, but fraud? That wasn't him. Which meant Lori. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. She must have been siphoning money through the company. Maybe for years. I didn't call Roy. I didn't have to. He called me 3 days later, at 2 in the morning. I let it go to voicemail. His voice was ragged, broken. I don't know what happened, Em. I trusted her. I trusted her with everything. There it was. The beginning of the end. For weeks, the story snowballed. Roy's business lost contracts. Vendors pulled out. Friends distanced themselves. Meanwhile, Lori? She wasn't by his side. Oh no. She was on Facebook, Instagram, and even local gossip sites, painting herself as a victim. I was manipulated too. I had no idea what was happening. I'm just a wife who loved too much. Classic Lori. Playing the saint while leaving everyone else to burn. At some point, she packed her things and moved out, taking whatever wasn't nailed down. Furniture. Appliances. Even the stupid metal rooster sculpture Roy loved for some reason. Gone. She left him with debt, disgrace, and a living room full of empty sockets where memories used to be. I watched it all unfold from a distance. No texts. No calls. No offers to help. I had learned my lesson. I wasn't a crutch anymore. Not for Roy. Not for anyone. If he wanted to rebuild, he'd have to crawl first. Still, some nights, sitting in the quiet with my dog at my feet and a mug of cold tea forgotten in my hands, I wondered. Was it possible? Could Roy ever see past the wreckage Lori left behind? Could he ever truly understand the years he chose her over me? I didn't know. All I knew was I wasn't going back to save him. Not this time. If he wanted redemption, he'd have to earn it. It was late November when he finally showed up. I hadn't heard from Roy in weeks. After the fraud investigation, after Lori vanished like smoke, I thought maybe that was it. Maybe he would just fade away too. But one chilly afternoon, there he was. Standing on my apartment doorstep. No call. No warning. Just Roy. Holding a battered duffel bag and a half-wilted bouquet from the grocery store. I stared at him through the peephole for a full minute before opening the door. He looked small. Not physically, he was still a broad-shouldered man, but like life had sanded him down. His jacket was wrinkled. His shoes scuffed. His eyes hollowed out. But for the first time in a decade, he wasn't standing behind Lori's shadow. He was standing alone. Can I come in? He asked, voice hoarse. I stepped aside without a word. He set the bag down carefully like he didn't want to break anything. Like he knew he already had. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I had once booked those plane tickets, so full of stupid hope. The silence stretched long and thin between us. Finally, Roy spoke. I lost everything, he said simply. I didn't say I told you so. He didn't deserve it, and I didn't need it. He swallowed hard. I should have lost her a long time ago. Instead, I lost you. I kept my arms crossed, heart guarded. You didn't lose me, Dad, I said quietly. You gave me away. He flinched like I had slapped him. Good. He needed to feel it. He reached into his jacket and pulled out something small, a folded piece of paper. He slid it across the table. A check. Made out to me. Every penny I had spent on their wedding trip. The flights. The hotel. The transfers. I stared at it. Roy's hand trembled slightly. I can't undo what I did. I can't fix the years I chose her. But I can start here. He looked up, meeting my eyes for the first time in what felt like forever. And if you let me, I'll keep showing you that you matter. That you always did. No excuses. No blaming Lori. Just him. Owning it. Finally. I sat back in my chair, heart pounding. Forgiveness is a strange thing. You think it's a grand moment, fireworks, swelling music. But really it's a choice. Quiet. Deliberate. You either keep carrying the weight, or you set it down. I picked up the check. Tore it cleanly down the middle. Roy gasped. I don't want your money, I said. I wanted my dad. Tears filled his eyes. He reached out, hesitated, then pulled his hand back like he didn't deserve to touch me yet. It broke something inside me, and healed something else at the same time. I stood up, walked around the table. For a moment he looked terrified, like he thought I'd throw him out. Instead, I pulled him into a hug. Tight. Real. And for the first time since I was a little girl, Roy hugged me back like he meant it. Like he finally remembered who I was. We stayed like that for a long time. No words. Just breathing. Just rebuilding. Later, he told me everything. How Lori had manipulated accounts. How she stole from the business under his nose. How she spread lies to everyone he trusted. How, when the walls started to close in, she didn't stand beside him. She ran. She never loved me, did she? He said quietly. I didn't answer. He already knew. But I said the one thing he needed to hear. You're not a bad man, Dad. You just forgot who you were. It wasn't perfect after that. Healing never is. Sometimes we fought. Sometimes old scars reopened. Sometimes I still caught a shadow of Lori's poison in the way he second-guessed himself. But we kept trying. Brick by brick. Cup of coffee by cup of coffee. Birthday card by birthday card. And slowly and possibly we found each other again. Sometimes late at night, when the house is quiet and the dogs snore at my feet, I think about that girl sitting at the wedding table all those months ago. Waiting. Hurting. Alone. She never got her perfect family picture. But maybe, just maybe, she got something better. Something real. Something earned. And Roy? He finally realized what Lori always feared. That I was never the problem. I was the best thing he almost lost.